She's kind of the epitome of ultralight. Backpacking, she does ultra long distances, and she often does them alone. If you guys saw her global interview, she was actually in Jasper when the wildfire evacuation happened, and you were alone.
My name is Jackie Borghese, and I love solving problems, so that's why I backpack. I like all the details. And if it isn't a weather problem, it's a wayfinding problem, right? Or a water crossing problem, or a wildfire. But the one thing you can control before you head out is you can control the weight that's inside your pack. So I'm not going to tell you what to buy. That's a very personal thing. I'm just going to get you thinking with 6 things that can help you to lighten the load. So let's just move on here. About me, other than what Carrie was saying, this year I hiked the Escalante Trail in the Grand Canyon in April. And in May I was in the Ghost Wilderness. In June I did the West Coast Trail. And in July I did Section E of the Great Divide Trail during the wildfires. So that was the big adventure. And then just a couple of weeks ago, in August, I did the White Goat Wilderness. I don't know if you guys know that part, but it's extremely beautiful, and it's part of the Great Divide Trail. So I took my husband and my dog in there because I wanted to show them. It's a wilderness area, so she could go. And then, this is the one a couple of weeks ago. We hiked into Astor Lake for a couple of nights. That's my puppy. So I was going to tell you all about my adventure in the Jasper wildfires, but then I figured you'd like to know how I and how you can do those distances and climb those slopes. And, we learned about the safety things you should do, and we learned about how to move your body, and I'm going to tell you how you can just carry less weight, because I'm 72 and I don't want to be carrying a lot of stuff anymore. I'm pretty careful about that. And you already saw my wildfire experience if you saw that Global News interview anyway. So the secret is that my pack weighs about 20 pounds for like a 5-day backpack. And so here's those 6 tips that I mentioned. And the first one is packaging should never weigh more than the contents. Sometimes it does, like with bear spray. They're exempt from that. But it's kind of a guideline to get you thinking about what you're taking. Maybe what's inside weighs less than the exterior, like with this delicious Heinz ketchup. I like it with my breakfast. And so I was taking those little envelopes, and I'm like, no, this is foil. This is heavy. So you can see it was 11 grams with the ketchup in it. So I tried a Ziploc bag several times actually, and it's really messy. So don't do that. But the winner is this great big container I got of dried tomato. So I can just sprinkle it on. So think powdered ketchup, powdered jam, powdered milk. And now you can even find powdered oat milk. So my husband doesn't do dairy, so you can look at the packaging versus the contents. Here's another one here. You can refine the packaging to what is necessary, but mostly you're looking for waterproof, right? This one here, you can see the ketchup. I'm obsessed with ketchup. This is tomato toothpaste. And the toothpaste tube, that's just one of those little guys, right? 29 grams, and empty it even weighs 4 grams. But look, I can take tooth tabs for the same amount as an empty toothpaste tube. And when I go on an ultralight one, like 15 days, I cut those in half and I just brush my teeth with half. Because I don't know if you heard that, the dentist probably told you that it's just the brushing action, really. The paste is more, tastes good. But anyway, that's what I heard, okay? It might not be true, I'm not an expert. But here's an example of I saved all that weight on that side that I was able, so that's garbage basically. So I was able to take a full dairy milk chocolate bar. That's the big guy. And I call that my 3.1. It's a Patagonia Houdini. It's just a light windbreaker, but man, it's that layer, you know, I forget the guy's name, but he was talking about layering, and that can really save things, you know, with a light rain or wind. Anyway, so what would you rather take, right? A bunch of garbage or whatever. So I take out, like this. I don't take it in the foil. Sorry, I should have pulled this out. I put mine in a Ziploc bag, and then I hydrate it in this little insulated pouch, which you can buy. It's Hyperlight, but you can make one too. I'm just kind of lazy, so I just bought one. Yeah, and then my meal goes in there. So here's an example of that where I removed the packaging, and it was with the packaging was $2.28. So when I put it in the Ziploc, I could take 7 squares of chocolate. So that's my unit of measure. You know, I put things on the scale and I just see how much chocolate I can take, because it's much more beneficial. So the next thing is count out everything. The temptation, you know, is to throw in a roll or a box or whatever, and you don't have to. You can count out. You know how much toilet paper you're going to use, and then you put in a little extra just in case, right? But in the Grand Canyon, you can't even leave toilet paper there. You can't even bury it. You have to pack it out. So I didn't. I took that little bidet attachment that goes on top of my Smart Bottle, and I learned how to bidet. My brother's been bragging about bideting for years. He has this thing in his house, and I'm like, But that worked really well for me. So you can take that instead. So count out everything. In the way of your meals too. Like, this is for 2 people, and I don't eat that much. I don't even eat half of that, because look at the size of me, right? 4'11", 94 pounds. So I only eat a third of a dinner. So I put it on the weigh scale and I weigh it and make sure that I got 3 equal portions, and then I try and break them up, you know, have different meals, different days. But here's the other thing you can do to save weight is stay by your stove the entire time you're cooking, because water will boil so fast that it'll be boiling away and you'll turn around and go, oh my God, you know, and that, it's wasted, right? You didn't have to carry it. So anyway, never leave your stove. Oh, that little thing on the bottom there, that's called a flip fuel. And you know all those partials you take home because you didn't use up the whole can? Thank goodness you didn't run out though. But you take all those partials home and then use flip fuel to transfer the contents to the other cans. So you make a full can and then you can recycle the metal. So that's what we've been doing. So is it dual purpose? I don't like to take anything that doesn't have more than one purpose, except for bear spray is an exception again in this category. Although if the safety guys are gone, I don't take bear spray. I practice bear avoidance, and that basically, I'll just give you a little example. I go, hey bear, and then I wait a little bit, and then I go, yo bear, and then I wait a little bit and go, Yuki, come, because it really projects. And I actually watched a bear respond to my calls way ahead of me. He was listening because he heard me, and I thought he was a stump because he was turned. And then I called my second time, and he looked right at me, and then my third call, and he went off into the bush. And I had to go that way. But anyway, it works, just like the books say, making noise. And I call in 3 so the bear can triangulate my position so that They know exactly where I am. And they can avoid me because I hate humans, really. I mean, you've heard of disasters, but that's a very unusual case, right? Usually everything goes fine. So I rehydrate my meals in this food baby so I don't take a pot. And the dual purpose of this is when I make breakfast, I also separate my lunch at the same time and put my lunch in here and then keep it in the lid at the top of my pack so it's really handy when I stop. So that's how I justify the food baby. And I call it a food baby because you put your meal in the morning when it's freezing, right? Freezing out. And I tuck it inside my jacket and it makes you look like kind of pregnant. And other young girls were calling it a food baby when they eat, so I do too. So that's that. And yeah, and you could make one. The other dual purpose is over here is my pots, is my cook system. So my mug and my little stove and my grabbers in there and my titanium spoon. And this is a frying pan that I fry meat in. I take dry cured meat that doesn't go bad, but it's kind of tough. And when you fry it, the flavor comes out and the grease is all over and it's heavenly. It's almost as good as chocolate. And then I just keep it in a Ziploc bag and I don't wash it for the whole trip because I heat it so high that, you know, it kills all the germs. So dual purpose. Yeah, no dishes. Excellent. This is a dual purpose. Maybe you've seen these. Kula is the brand of this particular cloth that is just used to kind of dab yourself when you go pee. So wipes the drips and then you turn it inside out and you strap it to your pack and it's 14 grams. So I take a couple of little hankies. Look how pretty. They're pretty, they dry fast, and I can take 3 extra squares of chocolate. So I also use those hankies to blow my nose, filter particles out of water, and wash myself. And I can wash it when I get to a water source, and it dries really quickly because I hang it on my pack. Let's see what else I got. Dual purpose. So earlier we looked at the toothpaste, and here's the brush, and you know everybody laughs. Oh, I bet you cut the end off your toothbrush. Yes, I do, because it weighs something. But look, they came out with a little toothbrush head that you snap into your titanium spoon. So everybody's getting them in their stockings for Christmas this year. Ultralight. That's what they get. And dual purpose here. These are the glasses I used to take, and so I use them in the city, 17 grams. But hey, I found out that they make sunglasses with a little, what do you call that?
Bifocal?
Bifocal, yeah, bifocal lens in it, so I can read my maps without changing my glasses. And I can also read my book, which is on my phone, in my tent because my phone is backlit, right? So I can wear my sunglasses at night. It's awesome. This other thing, sorry, that's a picture of me. My friend Leslie told me to swim in the Buff. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, you know those neck gaiters that you get? She says, look you can stretch over and it can be your bathing suit, so it's dual purpose. So I tried it and it fits, so I don't know, try it. Try all these things because man, you know, you talk about the like carrying all that weight and your body and everything, like you're much safer if you're lighter because you're not gonna get thrown off balance. I remember when I turtled one time, I've done the West Coast Trail 5 times, so in the beginning I turtled and it was because my pack threw me right backwards because my pack was like 35 pounds at that time. So here's a thing for swapping for less. This is bug spray, Ben's bug spray. It comes with a little sprayer, which is kind of wasteful, right? Because the spray goes all over the place and people inhale it next to you and everything. But I swapped out with this little cap that just, you can put a couple of drops on your, see, I hate this because I can't lift both hands. you can put a couple of drops on this hand, and then you can just do this, right? And get bug spray all over you without wasting with a sprayer. Now I just use a head net because I don't care if the rest of me gets bitten. This too annoying to deal with. This is showing, this is a little scrubbing pad. I mean, I don't wash dishes anyway, but you could use your used tea bag. Speaking of counting out things, I count out my tea bags too, like you would say like tea in for breakfast and tea at night, but I cut that in half too because now I have tea at night, save the wet bag, and then use it again for breakfast. I know. I mean, I could go as far as cold soaking. Do you guys know about cold soak? So cold soak is when you take a meal like this, add the water and pack it with you. For that day, you pack it with you. And it eventually gets wet, but I like stuff hot. I'm very traditional. And here's an example of a couple of grabbers. Look at the weight I saved there by getting this little MSR one instead of cutting holes in the other one like I did. The second one is super because you don't have to pry it open. You just kind of flip it to your pot and you can just clip over. So it's really nice that way because usually the other hand is busy. I can also use it to get my tea bag out of my tea. So it's like, it's dual purpose and it's like swapping out. So yay, MSR little grabber. This is my first aid kit. So this is what my husband bought. I'm like, what? It's way too heavy. And so mine is just a little, it's just a little Ziploc like this. And that's a fire starter, ibuprofen, because, 72. These are little zip ties, and you can fix stuff. That's my mattress pad. Here's a little tiny blade in case you need a blade for something, and tweezers. And then little strips of tape, Luco tape someone mentioned. I think it was the safety guys. And I stuck it to label sheets and cut it into strips. And that's to fix my tent. That's Z material for my Z-Pack tent. And the only reason I have money in there is it was a West Coast trail and you got to stop at the Crab Shack and it's going to cost you about $100. So you better take some money. So yeah, that's a lot better than taking this, right? And my maps, I make little backup maps because I have my phone, I take a backup battery, but I could drop that phone or the battery could not work. So I make little maps, I annotate them, I put notes on them in my tent at night with, of course, it's not a whole pen, it's just ink. Whatever you call it.
Ink cartridge.
Yeah, the ink cartridge. There's another name for it, refill. Yeah, that's from Space Pen. So it's only this big. And you can write on your tongue with it. So I imagine it'll write anywhere. And so this is waterproof paper that I print my maps onto and it writes on that too. So it's just perfect. Just a selection of sandals. These have toe protection, but you pay with the weight. These are kind of nice, but the Velcro sticks to everything. This is the little Zero sandals that I take. These ones I did take on Barnaby Ridge, and they were excellent. They got like a rough, that's for, at night. I wear boots during the day. So at night I slip into these, and they're like socks, but they are so ugly that I just couldn't take them again. It's too much. I do have limits. So for the extra, whatever it is, 40-something, 50 grams, I'll look cuter. And the last thing is, can you go without it for 5 days? So here's an example of things you can go without. 14 grams of labels cut out of your clothes. 6 grams for the oxygen absorber that you chuck out of your food, because you're only taking your food for maximum 15 days maybe? Maybe you're on a through hike, maybe you're gonna go for a few months, but your food's not gonna go bad in that time if it's freeze-dried. So you can chuck that, and this is a whole bunch of loops and stuff I cut off a sleeping bag. I'm a gear tester with Backpacker magazine, and they send me stuff, and sometimes I just go, what? And I cut all these things off because I get to keep the stuff and get rid of a bunch of things. That sleeping bag did me well. I think I'm selling it now, but I'm paring down. I'm paring down now. Smart bottles are great. I love them. They fit a lot of other things, attachments and filters and stuff, but they do have that little ring at the top that weighs a little bit, and so I always snip those off the bottle. It all adds up. See, you guys are laughing, but my pack is 20 pounds. Just think about it.
And you can have extra chocolate.
Lots of chocolate. And it makes room for the finer things, like maybe a little miniature magnetic Scrabble that like I played inside the tent when it was pouring down. And then I pulled out this little flask of Sambuca. And my friend who was with me, she said, I can't believe it. You are an ultralighter and you packed that? Like that? That must weigh something. And I said, do you like it? She said, yeah, well, that's why I brought it, because you don't want to be stuck in your tent going, okay, what do we do now, right? I mean, it's different with my husband. So that's the end of my presentation, and I just wanted to say that rescue is an interruption of the survival voyage, and that my light pack, I have to say, contributed to me getting out of the wildfires in Jasper, because I was able to run down. And that's not, I didn't invent that quote. That was out of the book Deep Survival. It's a really good read by Lawrence Gonzalez. Basically, he says what the emergency guys said. When things don't feel right, and that's the point I got to, things didn't feel right. So I stopped and I analyzed what was going on around me, and I analyzed my body too. I had smoke inhalation, and I had never had that feeling before. And then I looked at what I could do. I made a plan. I'm the one who represents the United, by the way, which is a bag liner, with a sleeping bag liner with benefits. And I planned that I would get down to a big water source, and I could soak my United, because it's bamboo, cotton, and spandex, so it would hold water, and I could drape it over me. I could wear it, and that might save me. But I ran into 2 wardens. Everybody else was evacuated, and there was just a couple of us. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, or you can go to my website, see some more stuff. I'll see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.